within 4 days, I could feel more energy. I could start eating food, real food. The devices were doing great, and then the meds is kind of like what I call a kicker. But I credit it to my life being saved by your system.
Hey, Randy, thank you so much for coming and spending some time with me today.
Yeah, sure. I'm glad to be here.
Cool. So can we start off chatting a little bit about where you were health-wise prior to coming to QHS?
Absolutely. So let's see, February 4th. Well, I had been having some issues in my upper throat, and I'll walk up to how I figured out what that was. But what was happening was I was since this has happened, I've had a motorcycle crash and I have a slight brain injury, so it takes me a little longer to get things out. And yes, I still ride. Anyhow, so prior to this, to my first ambulance ride with this issue, I've been having periodically minimal issues when I was eating. It just felt like a lot of pain right up in my up here high in my esophagus, and I thought maybe I was just eating too fast. And it would probably happen about 2 or 3 times a month. And my good friend Gail, ex-wife, but we're still great friends, she would say, you need to have it checked out. But it didn't happen enough for me to, shake a stick at it. So this went on. And then February 4th, then it started progressing after I turned 58, was January 5th. So the following February, so the rest of that month, it got just every day. And what was going on, I was just having massive pain up here. And then, massive pain, but I couldn't, and secreting a ton of saliva that I couldn't swallow. And so I had a little, tiny bathroom garbage can with a liner in it, and I would spit in that.
Oh no.
And didn't go very many places. When it first started, right around when it first got really bad, February 4th, I would have these, what I now call esophagus flare-ups, up to 9 or 10 hours nonstop. So I had a doctor's appointment coming up at the end of February, and I said, well, I'll just go for that. And Sabrina, my fiance, says, Randy, no. And it got to, I said, I'll just wait for it. Well, it got so bad one night I couldn't breathe. I could hardly breathe. I was massive pain, massive saliva. So I had an ambulance to the hospital, and they did nothing. I couldn't figure it out. When they ambulanced me in, they took me in, put me in a waiting room, and I figured out why. After waiting 4 hours for a 5-minute consultation, the paperwork they give you when you go home, the person that took the report from the first responders, and I heard them calling it in, what was going on. That person wrote down sore throat. So I was
gosh.
Yeah, I was not a priority. So got through that. Nothing happened there. So 3 days later, again, ambulance to that same hospital, and this time they transferred me from Providence, Milwaukee to Providence, Portland, basically because what they were seeing, they didn't know anything. They didn't have the equipment there to test of what to do. So I went over to Providence, and Two things they found. One was I had COVID, which made it worse. And two, they couldn't figure out after doing an endoscopy down the esophagus, because everything's clean. The top of your esophagus has what do they call it? A buildup of whatever, and so it was smaller than it should be. So it's okay. Just take smaller bites. I go. I can't eat anything. All I can get down is liquids. So send me home, and then I got ambulanced again. So couldn't breathe. Same thing. Send me home. So, but they set me up with specialists. So I went to 6 different specialists in between February 4th and February, March, April, May, June, July. And they said there was not a problem. They couldn't figure out what was going on. If I'd had to go anywhere in public, which I didn't, I would have, those barf bags, the expandables. I'd have to have that with me. If I went to a special, I'd have to have that with me. So, okay, I'm going to shorten up the story a little bit. So during that time, between February 4th, February, March, April. By April, I had lost 75 pounds. I was literally starving to death. I was making protein shakes, drinking those little drinks you get that are, I can't remember, but just liquids. I couldn't,
Wow.
I couldn't even get noodles, like noodle soup down, even though it's really soft food and slippery. So Sabrina and I literally got priced out of housing in the Portland area. She's from Walla Walla up here in Washington, and she wanted to live closer to her 3 sons. And so we moved to Kennewick, which housing is really affordable here. So we got up here, got my my Medicare updated. So backing up to down in Portland, the Medicare plan that the guy sold me was trash. I had 6 copays of over $400, which I didn't know because I've never been sick. I didn't know you could have billed to you, so I paid them. So that basically emptied my savings, my emergency fund, because it was important to keep it up because I needed help. I didn't know you could have it billed to you. So, and that was never offered to me. So getting up here, I got into the system up here, and within 2 visits, they figured it out. It's extreme gastritis, extreme, and they got me on the right medications. So backing up back down to Portland again, they said I started out at 215 pounds. So minus 75, that's 140. Blah, blah, blah. They said if I got to 140, they were going to put a feeding tube in. And I was told that with the feeding tube will be helpful. You'll have 3 to 5 years. So basically, they're telling me I'm terminal. So this was I pretty much made up the mind I was not going to live with a feeding tube. And I prayed on it. I love Jesus. I prayed on it, and I felt good with that decision. So my family, my son, was not good with it, but he understood. We have a very cool relationship. So I was going to apply for the organ-assisted suicide. We moved up here, and so we moved up here at the end of August. I got my device. I knew about you guys because Mike and I are related through him, but I'm one that needs to research stuff. And so I was researching you guys. I was cross-researching medical. I was cross researching naturopathic. I was looking at everything. So I finally said, okay, Mike, how do I do this? So he gave me the information. I got my device on September 5th. And, got it powered up, and I carry my left front pocket. Now I have two. I carry one in each pocket. But so what happened with that is within 4 days, all this is so clear, because what I was going through was very, very traumatic to me. So I remember everything vividly. Within 4 days, I could feel more energy.
Mm-hmm.
Within 2 weeks, I could start eating food, real food.
Wow.
And then now what they did here with the meds they have me on wasn't very simple meds. They're prescribed omeprazole, and then there's another med that goes with it. I remember the name of that. So adding the devices and what the doctors are doing for me within, let's see, now we moved into August. So between August and 4 weeks ago, I gained 18 of those pounds back. And it's now I've added the device because I got the new upgraded one, and Mike suggested keeping the other one and using them both. And it's I really believe that's the only reason I'm still here today, Tracy. That's the reason I'm not up there with my mama, which probably not a bad idea, because I miss her a lot. But I went from terminal to arrest, where they arrest, it's called arresting, the medical thing, to having that arrested under control. I still have it. I'll have it for the rest of my life, but I don't have the pain, and I very seldom secrete, basically normal now. I'm not normal, but that is, but and I credit it to these devices. And I think before I got going into the doctors, the devices were doing great. And then the meds is kind of like what I call a kicker. But I credit it to my life being saved by your system.
That's wonderful. It just goes to tell you, Randy, that extreme gastritis is inflammation in the GI tract, right? It's anything itis is inflammation. So this is helping decrease the inflammation. Yes. So that's good.
It is. Also, I don't understand how this works, and I'm into the website all the time, looking at stuff, doing research, because I may be a biker, but I'm a nerd. But at any rate, I've noticed the pain. I've had a new knee put in my left knee 10 years ago, and my right knee, they want to do when I'm 70, which will be January 5th coming up, because it was bone on bone. Well, what I'm noticing now, I'm not having any pain in that knee, other than, I know it needs to be done, but it's almost like to me, it's almost like a natural pain medicine. It's almost reminds me of naturopathic medicine with a kick. But
so you're not the first person who I've interviewed who has said that and canceled their other, I think it was hip. They were going to get a hip replacement and canceled it because the pain left. So that's a huge blessing.
I'm grabbing a Coke here, so I'm and not probably off the subject a little bit, but I'm let's see, what month is this? This is May. Is it May yet?
No, it's April.
So February, March, April. So I'm 8 months, and I'm 8 years, 2 months sober. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and so that's one of the other best things I ever do. And I have a kind of a necklace I wear every year when I get my new coin, I put it there and carry it because it creates conversations. At any rate, back to the devices. I can't say enough good about it. I really can't, and it would it's just information that's got to share. I don't know enough about it yet. I went down and visited my son a couple of weeks ago. I'm pulled off my motorcycle until we find out what's going on with my brain injury. And apologize, that's part of it. I used to be able to just
It's
whip through.
okay.
Okay.
My brother has a brain injury and he can't even talk.
Oh wow, I'm sorry for that. So now I feel blessed. I'm very blessed. But it's yeah, the only stumbling block I have is people that don't know me. They think I'm done speaking and jump in there, and then with this brain thing, it's gone. I don't have any short-term memory left.
Do you sleep with your device under your pillow or inside your pillowcase?
I sleep with it in my pockets because I'm not a sleeper. I've always been kind of nocturnal. I passed that gene on to my son, and he's welcome. But I usually sleep in my lazy chair, and I keep them both in my pockets. So,
okay.
But when I do go into the bedroom, I need to. I guess I need to put it under my pillow. I think Mike mentioned that once, but sometimes I'll go in there because we're not married, but we feel like we are, and like to be close. So when I do, like last night was one of those. I went in there and slept, but I should be putting it under my pillow then.
Yeah, I put it inside my pillowcase.
Okay, the top pillow because I use three. I used to be a competitive bodybuilder back in my 40s, and I've done so much damage to my skeleton that I have to sleep propped up, arms propped up, and then legs propped up as well. And so she doesn't get a lot of sleep because of me, but when I do go in there and do that, but I don't have to prop up my arms anymore.
Cool.
That's a big win. I've gotten so comfortable sleeping with my legs. I have one of those round things that they use in the doctor's office to keep your legs like this.
Oh, bolster. Yeah.
I use that, and I've gotten rid of one pillow. So I'm down to two pillows. So, Mike has a way of stimulating your thought process on stuff, and I really am blessed to have him because I need all the help I can get at this point with my brain thing. But the little things like that, it matters. And so
Sure.
Right now, I've talked to my doctor about this, and she's a 22-year-old doctor, and she's not like the older doctors that, oh, you don't need that. She likes to doctor with the least amount of synthetic meds as possible. So she's cut me down on my blood pressure medicine. My blood pressure has been perfect.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I would think that this device scans your entire body and it's looking for what needs to be fixed.
That's what I understand.
And then the coolest thing ever is that pretty soon we get a do-over because we get to go into the QARCs, right?
Right.
And so earlier in our conversation, you said, I guess I'm going to have this forever. And I'm thinking, well, really, are you? Because we get to go in the QARC, which is going to clean the slate. And then we're going to be able to live for decades longer in a 30-year-old body with all the wisdom and knowledge that we've already obtained. Okay. So what about that excites you?
Well, already the way I feel, I'm excited, and it's just going to get better. Let's see. Bear with me here. So with the gosh darn it, the medical co-pays and everything I put out of my pocket has drained my finances, and it's hard to rebuild. So I'm working hard to get money saved up, so the next step I can afford to do.
There's no charge for the QR.
Oh, okay. Could you tell? Okay.
So you're already a member of Quantum. You're already a member, right?
Right. Yeah.
So with that membership, you get to use the QR at no cost.
Okay. Let's see.
Are you an early adopter, Randy?
Pardon me?
You are an early adopter, right? You were one of the first that got started
on this?
On QHS.
Yeah. I was I started in February 21. September 21.
Okay. So I think that's the early adopters. So you guys get to go after the admin team and the like big, huge donors.
Oh,
so
okay.
You guys are going to be pretty darn quick.
Darn good. I didn't mean to say darn. Doggone. I don't know where that came. I'm just a man. I meant to say yay. Okay. Okay. What does can't remember off the top of my head. What does QR mean?
It's Q-ARC. Okay, it's the bed.
Q-ARC. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You get to go and get that experience where basically I'll send you a video. Okay, so you can review it. But essentially it's going to scan all the frequencies of your body in one pass. Okay. And then in the other pass, it's going to go and heal and repair and give you all new cells that of a 30-year-old.
Okay.
So I'm 57. I'm looking forward to looking like a 30-year-old again.
You already do.
No. You got to look closer. Yeah. That's when you see. But the exciting thing is we get to like have this do-over, living our lives again.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah.
So what excites you about that?
One of my goals that I wrote down. I'm a goal setter, and I know how to. In my freshman year, I wrote down. It was in health class. We wrote down all of our goals. I wrote down 120 goals, and
nice.
Then you write down your top 5 values and blah blah blah, something else, and then what you do is you match them. So basically, your goals and your values, and one of them on there, which was I think number 5 on my list, was to live to be a healthy 100-year-old. And before this came on, I was on track. So then that goal changed. New Year's Eve 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I went in and changed that. So I would look at them every New Year's Eve and see what needs to go, what needs to be added. And that had to be, because I upgraded that to 105. And
that's awesome.
Well, I told my son, I said, I have one child, raised him by myself. I told him, I says, well, I was planning on living that long to spend your inheritance, but it's already gone. But yeah, it's with I believe in goal setting, along with positive affirmations. Mm-hmm. And then re-upping that. I used to teach a seminar called EDGE. That was Education for Development, Growth, and Effectiveness. And it was all about living in our rapidly changing times and keeping a positive attitude.
Mm.
And I did that about 10 years. And I put my son through the teen level of that. And he lives with that process as well daily.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, I am excited about this. You know, the reason, I mean, yeah, you know, it's really, really cool that I feel so much better and look younger. That's really awesome. But what I like about it gives me more time to share the benefits with this people, because change is the hardest thing people deal with. The change is hard. Even for perfect people like me. Nope, did I say that? Anyway, but the more I know, the more I learn, the easier it will be for me to explain this. And Mike is mentoring me on that. He's a good man. He's a great human being.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the way I feel already. I'm excited to be able to share this stuff, and yeah, it's just I didn't think it would be not a naysayer and not a doubter. I'm a challenger. So I was looking at it like I'm up for this challenge. However, if this goes south, I will know. And
yeah, of course,
it's continuously going north. So
something that just came to me
uh-huh.
is you were this close from going one direction.
Yes.
But God gave you another direction. And look
Yes.
at where you're at now, which tells me that there's plans for you that you may or may not even be aware of right now. But I always said that since God brought me through my crazy youth, that he saved me and there's a big plan for me. And I really feel like I'm here and this is what it is. Yeah,
I can see it. I can hear it. I was noodling on this the other night.
That's a great word. Noodling.
People say I'm way out there. But anyway, everybody says thinking or thought, but I'll use noodle. At any rate, God having a plan for me. I've been going through my life knowing that what is the plan for me? What's God have for me? But I didn't really take that serious until 3 months ago when I accepted Jesus into my heart. And since then, and I get, now I'm a biker, but I get goosey. You know, we're not supposed to say that as a biker, we'll lose a biker card. But anyhow, I feel positive that now I am here for a reason. I'm seriously noodling on what that is. And I know was noodling on it the other night that this is part of it. But I know that's not all of it. So I'm excited for the future.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. I am so happy to hear you have relief and you're able to live, more of a normal life again. So
yes.
All right, my darling Randy. Well, I just want to also thank you so much for spending some time with me, sharing your stories so that you can inspire other people.
Yeah. I set my alarm today so I would remember to be there. And I'm going, I heard something go, and then it shut off. You go, listen to the clock. It's turned. Oh my gosh, I have a Zoom call. But yeah, I love you guys. I really appreciate. I've been on some of the Zoom meetings, and all I see is positive. I've heard one gentleman one time say that it wasn't working for him, but that's less than the 1%. Everybody else has. And the cool thing is the stories, the journey is different for us all, but the result is the same. What kind of equation is that? Isn't that great?
Eventually, yeah. The result will be restored health through frequencies.
Yeah. That's cool. Thank you for inviting me to the Zoom call. This is You're going to be my hero for the whole weekend.
Yay! Lucky me. All right, Randy. Have a beautiful day, my new friend.
You
Thank
too.
you.